Shalom Akim. All praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to you brothers doing the work of truth, sincerity. And this is going to be a simple lesson. Hey, the title is called Color Doesn't Matter. Now, of course, this is probably going to get a lot of you wacky-tacky Christians. And then, of course, I'm really just fishing for the elect that might be in those situations, you know. But anyway, if you listen up, you might learn something. And this is all about color not mattering. Why doesn't color matter? Because truth matters. So, for all the things that you hear about color in the scriptures, guess what? It matters for the truth's sake. So, that's why this video is titled the way it is. So, without further ado, I'm going to read a couple of scriptures and give a couple of images so you can understand about color, you know. So this is Revelations 1 and 13, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks. And these scriptures are all basic scriptures that everybody has heard and has learned, in that even in wacky-tacky Christian churches. So all you got to do is follow along, because a lot of people, especially you Jakes, a lot of you Jakes don't like to research things. So basically the research is done for you. And all you got to do is listen and learn. What do the scriptures say? What is it? Be not quick to give the sacrifice of fools, roughly paraphrasing, you know. Be quick to hear and not quick to give the sacrifice of fools, you know. So, this is Revelations 1 and 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice the sound of many waters. So he had a loud, powerful voice, loud, powerful, deep, crashing voice, and his skin was like, and his feet were like unto fine brass, so, or burned brass. So, of course, I pulled up some images off Google, typed in burned brass, as you can see, and these are the images that popped up. Burned brass. You got burned brass in bullet casings. They gave these images brass. All of this is burned brass, you know. And, of course, they gave images of men. Burned brass, man. All of these are images of burned brass, and this is my personal favorite because this is a guy that was interviewed by, I believe, the We Got Next camp years ago. You know, and this is what he looked like. Hair's white like wool, as white as snow. His eyes are not a flame of fire because he don't look like he's been drinking wine or anything, so his eyes aren't inflamed. Matter of fact, I'm going to type that in as well because that's what this image looks like. And then his hands, you know, they ain't showing his feet, but it's like the color of burned brass, man. You know, and he's holding a picture of the artist's depiction of what Yahushai will look like. You know, he look all just like that picture, man. You know, and of course he's an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. And of course, what is it? Eyes as a flame of fire. That's what eyes as a flame of fire would look like right here. Why? If you drink a lot of wine, then you would know. This is what your eyes would look like. And this is as a flame of fire, you know. So, let's go to the next scripture. This is Daniel chapter 10, verse 5. Then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also like the beryl, and his face and his appearance as of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and his voice was like the voice of a multitude. So again, polished brass. This is what polished brass look like. And some polished brass is darker than other polished brass. Let's go back to the burnt brass page. When you see him, you look at this polished brass, it looks the same. It don't look like the other image that we saw. It don't look like that guy. Nor does it look like this guy or this guy. So this is polished brass here. And this is all because color doesn't matter, Truth is what matters. So when the brothers are out there speaking on the street, guess what they're preaching? Truth. We're not preaching color. Esau, Edom, the red Hebrew Edomites are the ones who called you African American and black. However, in the Bible, the Israelites, the king of Israel, king of kings, lord of lords, was at the same color as polished brass. That's the color he was, or he is, I should say. Or burned brass. That's the color he is, So you can have an accurate depiction of him when he returns. So the next scripture I have is Jeremiah 14:2. Judah mourneth, the gates thereof language, they are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. So, why I picked this scripture? Because it's talking about color again. And this is what I wanted to get to, they are black, which the name for black in this is Kodar. H6937, Kodar. So, to mourn, be dark, and that's not it. To be dark, that's what it is. To darken, to cause to mourn, that's not it. Because, as the apostle would say, the blue letter goes off too. So, let's go down a little bit more. So, this is what it was. To be foul, no. Turbid, used of streams. Job 6:16, hence to go in filthy garments, or as mourners, because that's not the meaning right there. They are black unto the ground. They are Kodar. Basically, they are dark skinned. To be of a dirty blackish color. Here we go again. This is it right here. To be of a dirty blackish color, as of a sunburned skin. This was it. This was the meaning right here. In ancient times, this was the meaning. Because Esau, in order to understand the truth, in order to lie, you must know the truth. So Esau puts his BS right along with truth to confuse the people. So the meaning there was this. But of course, Esau put a lot of BS there so to confuse the people. To be of a dirty, blackish color as of a sunburned skin. That's what Jeremiah 14:2 means. To be of a blackish color of a sunburned skin. Next, let's go to Exodus. Exodus 2:11. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren and looked upon their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. So the Hebrews was Moses' brethren, and the Moses looked like the Egyptians. He was raised with the Egyptians. Amos 9:7, and ye are Slakia. Are ye not as the children of Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Saith Yahweh, have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines, and Captor, and the Syrians from Ker? So the Lord, the Most High, said, are ye not as the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Basically, you look like the Ethiopians, don't you? But I brought you out of the land of Israel. Out of the land of Egypt, because the Egyptians and the Ethiopians, aka Cush, which are the Ethiopians, the ancient Ethiopians' name, and Mizraim, which is the ancient Egyptians' name, they were brethren. Cush and Mizraim were brethren. So the Lord said we look like the children of the Ethiopians, which was brothers of the Egyptians. So I typed in Egyptians and Ethiopians. These are Egyptian and Ethiopian people. This is what they look like. Egyptians and Ethiopians. They're different shades of brown. That's what they look like. Different shades of brown. Dark brown, light brown. Light brown. These are Ethiopians. These are Ethiopians. So the Lord said we look like them. And last but not least, because, just giving you a color scheme. Moses looked like the Egyptians. The children of Israel looked like the Ethiopians. So they got mixes of dark brown and light brown skin. Of course, color doesn't matter, though. This is just for truth's sake. So last but not least, this is Hosea 7 and 8. Ephraim, which is the head of the northern kingdom, Ephraim hath mixed itself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Now Ephraim, we in the know, we know that Ephraim is the Puerto Ricans today, would be known as the Puerto Ricans today. So the Lord said that Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. So what I put in? Unflipped pancakes, so you can see. A cake not turned. I mean, that it's yellowish, or so you can understand. Actually, light brown. That's what it is. It's light brown. So the other the Northern Kingdom would be a light brown people. So these are images of Puerto Ricans. Light brown people, as the apostle would also say, the other apostle, not every Israelite is going to look like John Shaft. So these are light brown people, man. They look light brown. These are Israelites. Now, you mean to tell me if these light brown people mix themselves amongst the other nations, they ain't going to look just like the other nations? That's why the Lord said that Israel is a speckled bird. We look like all nations because we mixed with all nations. That's why we look like all nations. I mean, so this has been, this is a short lesson. Basically, this lesson is based off of truth. Or I should say the color of truth. So, and I hope with that you brothers out there listening and learning, you few sisters out there listening and learning as well, were edified. Until the next time, I say shalom.